This place is magical.
It's like a dream.
Engineers turn dreams into reality.
For the past few years now, Fathom Events has been doing a special lineup called Studio Ghibli Fest, in which they will show a movie from Studio Ghibli on the big screen for a few nights once a month. So I have mentioned this a handful of times before, I do like anime, but I am definitely not obsessed with it whatsoever. But obviously, I have seen a handful of things. And when it comes to Studio Ghibli, not only do I just fucking adore it, but I cannot get enough of it. Anytime I rewatch one of these movies, it always puts me in a good mood, and there's just something really comforting about them. Some of these I would go as far as saying are some of my favorite movies, and Hayao Miyazaki is hands down one of my all-time favorite directors. And I don't just mean in animation, I mean in general. I love these movies in this company so much that last year I went and watched all the Studio Ghibli Fest, and at the end of the lineup, the theater that I went to let me have the standee, which was really cool. I even have this book called The Art of Spirited Away, which is just a bunch of animations from the movie. And back in theaters for its 35th anniversary for 5 days only is the very iconic My Neighbor Totoro, and this was my first time seeing it in theaters. One thing I should probably mention though is that I did not grow up with the Studio Ghibli movies whatsoever. There was only 3 I was aware that even existed when I was younger, and that was Ponyo, Secret World of Arrietty, and My Neighbor Totoro. And honestly, how could you not know what Totoro was? It was everywhere. But I definitely remember the first time I ever saw an image for this movie. My grandma used to have this old VHS copy of Snoopy Come Home, and there was an ad before the movie promoting other Fox movies, and one of them was My Neighbor Totoro. Oh yeah, I guess there was this weird point where Fox owned this movie for a while before Disney did. But even if you've never seen this movie before, you have definitely seen it referenced somewhere. The 2 I can think of off the top of my head are South Park and Bob's Burgers. South Park did it with Cthulhu, and Bob's Burgers did it with a talking turkey named Lance. And I can definitely say I like this movie a lot, but I wouldn't say it's my personal favorite Ghibli movie. It's not really one of those that's got much of a plot or any big dilemmas, sort of. It's just a nice, simple, slice-of-life film with some fantasy elements here and there. And you know what? Every once in a while, I do like a little movie with a very simple story or like no story at all. Sometimes you just need a really laid-back movie that's not trying to be anything grand or epic, but just really relaxing, and this is one of those movies that just makes you feel nostalgic for childhood and what it was like to be a kid. It really made me think of something like Bluey, where it's got such a childlike innocence to it that it can be enjoyed by both kids and adults, and it's so harmless and cute that you can't help but just have a big smile on your face while watching it. The 2 girls in the movie are played by the Fanning sisters, and that was just a great choice. They work very well off of each other, and they don't really feel like co-actors whatsoever. They actually feel like sisters. And just like all Ghibli films, the animation here is absolutely beautiful. The color, the backgrounds, and definitely the character designs, especially that cat bus, are just spectacular. This movie was done using only traditional hand-drawn animation, and every frame to me just feels like a work of art. And I know Studio Ghibli movies are very much in the anime category, but they really do feel like their own thing. Like they're not doing big expressions or exaggerated animation, they act like, for lack of a better term, normal hand-drawn movies. They're basically the anime equivalent of Pixar in a way, which is funny because Pixar does take a lot of inspiration from Studio Ghibli. Don't believe me? Watch Only Yesterday and Turning Red back to back. They almost feel like the same movie, with a few differences here and there. Okay, some major differences. One movie doesn't have a character turning into a red panda. Which actually, now that I think about it, Turning Red was more anime than Only Yesterday was. I also really like how they let you decide whether or not Totoro is real. Like, is he in the girls' imaginations, or does he actually live in that tree and stuff? I mean, it is true most of the time that they do see Totoro, the next moment they'll be fast asleep, but he does show up during the climax where he helps them out when they are clearly awake. Okay, so really I have nothing new to say about this movie that you haven't heard a million times before, but I do just want to rip on one thing. Okay, not really a thing, one character, and it's the dad. I want to rip on the dad for a second. So don't get me wrong, he's a good dad and whatnot. He feeds these girls, he takes care of them, he sends them to school, whatnot, but it seems like any time one of them runs off, particularly the youngest one, he never knows where the hell they're at. Like early on in the movie, the youngest one wanders off and finds Totoro, but then the other one gets home from school, and what the hell is the dad doing? He's dozed off and has no idea where his daughter's at. And then later on, the youngest one runs off again, and nobody knows where she is gone, and like the whole neighborhood is losing their minds trying to find this girl, besides one person, the dad. Where the hell's the dad? Okay, sure, it is true that he is visiting his sick wife in the hospital at this point in time, but if one person was to at least get in contact with him, I think she would understand and be like, go find her fucking kid. But wait a minute, there is a scene where they have to get a telegram because the mom is not doing the greatest and they have to go get a phone because they don't have a phone. Okay, maybe I'm thinking about this a little too hard. Never mind. Forget everything I just said. But I still think My Neighbor Totoro is a great movie for all ages, and honestly, if you're wanting to give anime a shot, Studio Ghibli movies are a great starting point. And if you're curious to know if it's worth it to see all these Studio Ghibli movies in theaters or not, yes. 100%, especially if you're an animation fan like I am. These are worth it to see on the big screen. And I'm definitely going to give My Neighbor Totoro an A. I also very much got to acknowledge something. Look at this poster. Clearly the little girl on there is the two girls morphed into one. I also do plan on trying to review all these Studio Ghibli movies, but the next one isn't a movie, it's a stage play of Spirited Away. Don't know if I'll do that one or not. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and I'll be back with more reviews and videos very soon. See you then.
This is weird, right?